As I just mentioned, the new Trump administration is expected to move quickly on tariffs, and legal challenges are expected to follow. Joining us now to walk through all this is Yahoo Finance's Ben Werschkul. Ben.
Hey, Josh. Yeah, so I wrote about the lawsuit side of this today because this is a pretty significant X factor, I think, for businesses and for investors. That'll be a big post-action, post-January 20th story. The reason to watch lawsuits closely is especially as if Trump moves on what's a 1977 law called the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA for short. And this is the sort of most muscular, most aggressive move he could he's seen as being able to make right out of the gate. There's one expert says that could mean tariffs in effect within 12 hours of doing this. This is immediate. You declare an economic emergency. There was a CNN report today that confirmed that this is still very much on the table, but this is something Trump aides have been talking about for a long time. It was even sort of toyed with in the first Trump administration, but not sort of gone at in full force. The upside for Trump, as I mentioned, fast and big, is that he could go fast and big on this. The downside for this is that this is a 1977 law that hasn't been legally tested, the tariff side of it at least. And so it would lead to a lot of challenges. So you can see a lot of groups from the Chamber of Commerce to Business Roundtable to sector-specific groups sending signs that that lawsuits could very well be in the offing, and that could inject a lot of uncertainty into it. This is all sort of you can't do a lawsuit until after the action is proposed. So this would have to be after Trump announces what he's going to do, and that's still very much under debate. But that'll sort of, just in case anyone was thinking that we'd have clarity on tariffs on January 20th or 21st, this will probably keep uncertainty going for quite a while.
Where, Ben, is Congress in all this discussion?
Congress is kind of on the sidelines of this. You know, the Constitution says Congress is in charge of this, but for decades now, this law was from 1977. There's a whole bunch more. Section 301, Section 232 are all these laws from the last 50 years, where Congress essentially gave the powers to the president in a lot of fronts on tariffs. So the Constitution says Congress should do it, but in reality, the president has a lot of unilateral authority here. And Trump has said he doesn't need Congress. He thinks Congress will approve it, and they can, but he has the power to act alone. So Congress has been on the sidelines. There's some folks on the Hill that I've talked to that are talking about jumping in, but that's an uphill battle for certain. Republicans would be less likely to kind of undermine their commander-in-chief on this and sort of try to take some power back at this moment for sure. That's the sense a little bit. It could come into play on taxes. Trump has talked about using tariffs to pay for taxes, so maybe Congress is open to giving him more authority there. But for right now, Congress is kind of on the sidelines. I think the early focus will be executive actions from the president-elect right off the bat, and then any legal action that responds to that.
What's really quickly, Ben, as you're talking, I'm just thinking through this. Let's say you had legal action. Is it possible you would have a judge step in and say, listen, I'm freezing implementation of these tariffs until we work through this case?
That's possible. Most folks think that's very unlikely. You'd have to get a very sympathetic judge to do this. There were lawsuits last time. These were on sort of different authorities and kind of less aggressive, and the judges did not. The lawsuits went forward, but the tariffs went forward at the same time, and then the lawsuits essentially petered out, and some were cast aside. So it is possible. You could see that where a judge says, we need to take a break at this. We need to freeze these. But most folks I've talked to suggest that's unlikely.
Ben, always great to see you and have you on the show. Thank you.
Good to see you.